Today we're going to talk about buying a deductible, the duties of an adjuster, and a previous job that we're going to show you some pictures of that another company did a few years ago on the same job that we estimated, and the people went with that company, they bought the deductible, and you're going to love the pictures that I showed you. Rolling into buying a deductible. Your deductible is your self-insured portion of your insurance agreement with your insurance carrier. That's basically it. They're gonna pay you for your financial loss. So it's all about insuring you and your checkbook and not really the asset. So keep that in mind. Secondly, buying a deductible is unlawful. In the state of Missouri especially, it is unlawful. Senate Bill 101 covers that. We're going to put an attachment to that, and so you can read it for yourself. It's quick, fast read, couple pages, and then you should be educated. The link is down below. Let me also share something else about buying a deductible. Buying a deductible is, well, one, I just said it's unlawful, but two, somebody has to lie. And when somebody lies to the insurance carrier, again, that's fraud. So why even put yourself in that position? We're not going to be in that position because we're not going to do it. There's no amount of money worth anything. And especially if a contractor has to buy your deductible to do the work, you need to question what their real abilities are. Right now, with all the COVID craziness going on, a lot of insurance companies aren't even inspecting. They're like, well, just send your pictures, send your estimate. Well, the problem with that is then you get a phone call back from the insurance carrier and they say, well, guess what? We don't pay for that. Well, that's technically not accurate. If they extend coverage for damage, then they extended coverage for all the damage up to policy limit. So you kind of need to understand that. Let's go through what the duty of an adjuster is. The duty of an adjuster is one, to acknowledge a claim when a claim is made. That's the first thing. The second thing is an adjuster needs to inspect the loss. So any damage, they need to come out and inspect it. The third thing they need to do is verify if coverage applies to that loss. And that's only done through your policy. Then they will typically put an estimate together in their format from their software company, which could be one or three or four different companies. And so basically what that number is a baseline number. Remember, an adjuster is not a professional contractor. They're simply an adjuster. And I'm not saying they're just simply an adjuster to put them down, but their job is to, what I just said, acknowledge the claim, inspect the claim, verify if coverage applies to that loss, establish a baseline number, and then work out the agreement with your contractor. And so what's going on right now is a lot of guys are out door knocking, forcing you into a fast settlement with your carrier. And where that's dangerous is the fact that so many items are missed. In the state of Missouri alone, the Department of Insurance released information not too long ago, well, maybe a year or so ago, that as much as 40% of all claims in Missouri are improperly settled and underpaid. So 40% is a huge number. For us, what we've seen technically in this area in several thousand claims that we've worked is that at minimum, the carrier is 35% plus or minus low on their baseline number, not including all the scope items or proper repair line items that it takes to properly indemnify you. A previous job that we did, that we estimated, we didn't do the work. We went out, it was a hail claim. We put together an estimate. We didn't get the job because the owner wanted us to buy their deductible. And it's just not going to happen. So they went with another local company who bought the deductible. And now here we are 3 years later. They called, I went out and did an inspection, and their roof, as you're going to see in the pictures, the whole back of the roof the shingles are literally falling off the roof. Well, what happened? They nailed the shingles too high. Some shingles, there were no nails whatsoever. You're gonna see them right here in the pictures. Check it out. This is what you get. You get what you pay for. You gotta think that if an estimate from an insurance carrier is maybe 30, 40, 50% off, and you have a contractor that says, hey, I'll do it, or for what the insurance company is saying, and I'm gonna put a picture in here too of another contractor with a picture of his contract. I'm gonna redact his name, but you're gonna see a picture of his contract and the language. Honestly, it's disgusting. And what's even more shameful is that some homeowner would go along with that crap. A contract has to have certain conditions to really even be a contract, so you all need to be aware of that. But going back to it, if the insurance is already low, if their baseline number is 30, 40, or 50% off, and a contractor says, hey, I'll do it for what the insurance is giving you, and I'll pay your deductible, believe me, there is no profit. None. No profit in that job whatsoever. The way the system, the software works for the insurance carrier is they isolate overhead and profit. Meaning they're saying, well, we've built in this overhead and profit to our baseline numbers. Well, quite frankly, that's bullshit. They don't, because there's additional line items for overhead and profit. So if it's there, how could it be included somewhere else? It's a double-edged sword, and it's a way a lot of people are being financially hurt. And so the reason you need to get a solid contractor, it doesn't need to be us. It just needs to be somebody who understands that software. And I would encourage you to really do your homework with whoever you're dealing with so that they truly know how that works. So back to the roof again. Look, if it's a $10,000 roof and it's 30 to 50% off, well, that means let's say $15,000. Well, your material alone is probably $7,500. Your labor, $3,000 to $5,000 perhaps. That doesn't leave any room for any profit or overhead to be taken care of, let alone absorbing some deductible. And so I hope that the pictures that we're going to show you shed some serious light on what I'm saying. Let me explain to you that if a contractor is eating your deductible or absorbing your deductible and doing the work for what the insurance company is using as a baseline number, if your material is eating up nearly half of it, your labor is another 30 to 40%, that's a very, very, very small margin left. There's just no way that it can be done. In fact, for workman's comp and general liability to apply to a roofing estimate is almost 10 to 12%. So just put that back into perspective. So if a guy thinks that he's gonna make profit off of doing a shoddy work, that's all coming out of your details. You're not getting your flashings replaced. You're probably not getting the right amount of fasteners. You're getting an inadequate underlayment. So it could be a second. Your shingles could even be a second. You don't know. So you really need to pay attention to what you're doing, because believe me, a Band-Aid on a roof is not a roof. It's just a Band-Aid. Poor workmanship to your roof will drastically cut the life expectancy, the life cycle, and the performance of your roof. And when you need it the most, it will not be there performing for you. Hope everything that we're going to give you helps you out a little bit. We'll see y'all later. Thanks.